Okay, so two things that I've done here. So based on video here from Loacy Tech, it's got more views than I do. Look at that. But anyway, look, less subs too. But anyway, so I was looking around for Sway stuff again, and he has this rotation script based on the accelerometer in his laptop. Supposedly the X220T I guess has one, but I haven't seen much documentation on it. But I was looking at the way he has the script set up, and I realized the reason why the touch wasn't working on Sway in this was for a really stupid reason that I had overlooked. So for one, I was doing the output stuff wrong. But then, if we go in further here, you can see that he sets his input properly to the right events and what all. So what I did here is I kind of went and did the same deal. If I can, let me go to... Look at that. Dot. Not that one, that one. Okay, so this is the one that I kind of started with. So basically it's pretty obvious. And so now I've got that down there, and I figured out like what inputs I needed to map to what. So now it properly does it, because originally it would work it out. So now when I hit, so I've got it mapped to Super Shift R, so it'll pull that up, this Rofi menu. And so now I can go like that, or if I'm using the keyboard, it does kind of the same thing. I can toggle it by selecting the same one, or just pick whichever one I want. It checks whether it's different or not, and that kind of a thing. So then it's like, okay, so next thing was to figure out like those bezel buttons, like what are they mapped to? Or what are their names? So that I can add them to my Sway config and work it out that way. So I kind of went in and I was looking around for a Wayland one, but it uses the same key names as Xorg, because I guess that's simpler. So it's like the same name, XF86 whatever. And I installed WEV, which is like XEV, except it seems to have a little bit more verbosity to it than XEV does. But it's for Wayland and Wayland compositors. And so I grabbed these two bezel buttons and figured out their names. And so now I've got, where is it? Right there. I've got it in, so obviously I've got the Super Shift R as my rotate, and then I've got a separate rotate button script, and then NWG drawer, which I'll kind of show off, which is kind of like a app drawer that is also mapped to, so the drawer's mapped to that one, the rotate's mapped to that one. So if I go back to the other one, go rotate. So what I did here instead is, since I was already, I've got to clean up the rest of the code, obviously, of all the comments that I left in, and then my comment like telling me what I wanted to do. But since I'm already grabbing the current rotation, I can just use that and check against it and just move on to the next rotation. And then it maps it out again. So feasibly, the script is basically just like that comment telling you what to do, the that line minus the surrounding it. Don't need that or that. So like we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lines basically, and I could probably switch that out for like a switch statement of some sort, but it works for now. And so what that does is if I hit, that's the rotate button right there, so it just rotates the screen around in a nice counterclockwise direction. And so if I were to go and open up Xernal and then rotate the screen, you can see, well, let me grab the pen out because I need to use that in this. You can see that this time it's properly mapped unlike the last time. And then I can zoom in, and, well, this isn't Krita. Krita lets you rotate and stuff. But it works properly, so I can actually go and go back to normal from the Rofi script that I have. And so that basically lets me rotate and use it like I was intending to from the start. So I may stick with Sway for a little bit until like River figures it out. So one thing I didn't know about Wayland compositors is that basically, yes, much of the libraries are built in such a way that they support touch, but it's up to the compositor, whoever's programming it, to implement touch in some way. So Sway has basically implemented touch such that cursor pops up when you're using a normal mouse and then disappears when you're using touch. Something like River has not implemented that as of yet. So that's a thing there. And then I've seen some people with scripts for Sway that like use touch controls to switch windows around and things like that, and that's pretty nifty. Obviously, I'm probably going to play around with Sway a bit more, even though River's a little bit more what I'm looking for, but it's not far enough in development, I guess, for that kind of a thing. But I will continue looking around and experimenting, and I've been looking at widget things as well for that kind of a thing. So the next thing was NWG drawer, and so much like in a full DE, you've got this app drawer, and I wanted this for when I'm in tablet mode so that I can have something to where I can open applications without having to like go to the keyboard all the time. So I can, when I have the keyboard out, I can use BE menu, but then when I've got only a touch screen, I can do something here. And so this lets me do that, so I can go in here, let's see, pretending I'm in tablet mode, of course, and I can open up FreeTube, and it'll load everything up now just fine. The only thing that I'm lacking now is basically a close or whatever from it, and I've just got to figure out how I want to implement that. Maybe if I add it to a bar up here. Don't think I want to use the default Sway bar. I think I want to go with something else. And I've been kind of looking at a couple different widget libraries and things like that for that. Then in addition to that, I've got, I've just compiled the WVKBD to mess around with. And I've got to reconfigure that because when I do the rotate, it gets pretty tiny. But I think even still, I could probably live with that, even if I didn't change it. But I still think I want it a bit taller, and I definitely want it with a few different layouts as well. So I want to implement a few more layouts into it. And also another thing I was looking at is there's an event, I guess, that tells you when this flips in and out on tablet mode. So I should be able to find a clever way to implement that to make it go back to normal whenever I have the keyboard out. But yeah, That's all the updates here. That's a lot I've figured out, and still a lot I'm still working to rice out anyway. So I will see you guys later.